Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 Public Works Committee meeting. Now is time for roll call and determination of quorum.
Lehman. Pettigrew.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Ham.
Here.
Roseland.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. Now it's time for adoption of the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now it's time for general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the committee on any issue not limited to items on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. I don't see anybody that wants to speak, so I will open and I will close that. And we'll move on to consent items. Items 1 through 9. I will open public comment. I don't have any speaker form requests. Nobody's jumping up and down, so I'll close that. We'll move on to consent items, items 1 through 9. Is there anything anybody wants to pull, or do you want me to just have Dale briefly go through these?
I'd like Dale to briefly go through them.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll speak on items 2 through 8. I can't help you with item number 9, but I'll help you with items 2 through 8. Items 2, 3, 4, and 5 are final change orders on some completed projects. As you can see, there's a number of decreases there. I think our net decrease is about $40,000 for all those projects combined. Item 6 is an agreement for crack sealing. It's part of our pavement maintenance program that we do annually. This project, consistent with last year, we're splitting some of the work with the monument. They're doing some crack sealing work in their parking lot areas. So this is a way to leverage a bid project for the advantage of other city departments as well. Item number 7 is what we believe will be continue to be an annual project that we have, and that is to clean and televise up to 33 miles of sanitary sewer for next year. We're going to be focusing, this year rather, we're going to be focusing in the northern part of our community, primarily in the what we call the Box Elder Creek Basin. We have instances of infiltration and inflow, so when we get heavy rains, we see a lot of that water showing up in our sanitary sewer. So this investigation will help us determine where that's at, and it'll provide us a roadmap of where we can invest some of our operation and maintenance money to decrease those inflows, which will preserve capacity in our system and also preserve capacity in our wastewater treatment facility. Item number 8 is the purchase of a couple of snow plows. Those are just the pieces hanging off the front of the trucks. We're trying to leverage every piece of equipment we have for snow removal. These 2 plows are a budgeted item in our snow removal budget for 2024. And that, I believe, is it for items 2 through 8. I will stand for any questions.
If we don't have any questions, I'll look for a motion. Have a motion by Ham, a second by Roseland. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to non-consent items. I will open public comment. Again, I don't see anybody jumping up and down, so I'll close public comment. We'll move on to items 10. Presentation, construction administration for water reclamation facility South Plant improvement projects. And it looks like we've got a pretty good group of people, so I'll just turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Eddie Lopez, Operations Engineering Manager for Public Works. Our presentation today will focus on construction administration for the water reclamation facility South Plant improvements project. This is a follow-up to the previous presentation, and where we discuss why our consulting engineer is needed during construction. In this presentation, we'll be diving into the weeds as to how the construction administration will look for the water reclamation facility South Plant improvements project. I will be opening up the presentation, followed by HDR Senior Vice President Patrick Young with over 33 years of experience in managing large-scale infrastructure projects. He will cover how the overall work effort for the CA contract was determined, and then I will close it out. To start off, I'd like to go over the project timeline, starting on the left-hand side. In 2016, the facility master plan was adopted by council. Various projects were identified in that master plan. In particular, the South Plant Improvements Project was identified as a need at that time. In 2021, we began design of Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the South Plant Improvements Project. And then in 2022, the city was awarded grant and loan from the state. In October of 2022, Phase 1 was awarded, which is the WRF Aeration Basin Clare-Flocklear project, and that's what we identify as Phase 1. So that was awarded in council in October of 2022. In March of 2024, additional SRF loan was granted by the state due to inflationary costs of construction. And then in May of 2024, the WRF South Plant Improvements Project Phase 2 was awarded by council to PKG Contractors for $170 million, which is where we're at today. And then in June 2024, we did have our pre-construction meeting where we gave notice to proceed to PKG to begin construction. So currently, we're going through the submittal review process and permitting process. Again, that's where we're at today. Later on this week, we will be going to PIER, and we will be hopefully accepting an additional $9 million in ARPA fund. One thing that I would like to note is that the project team has been working diligently with the state in securing as much grant funds as possible and for the project, and the project at this time is fully funded. Now again, working our way down, in fall 2024, we are looking to complete our Phase 1 of the project, and then we're looking to complete the overall Phase 2 in winter of 2028. I would like to emphasize the need to use of a consultant for the construction administration for Phase 2. This is unique to Rapid City. Using consultants to assist during construction administration is industry standard. It allows the city to meet funding requirements established in the grant agreements. This is a large and complex project, and we require specialized disciplines. Assistance in interpreting the design intent is needed. We have over 1,000 pages of plans and 1,000 pages of specifications, and we need assistance in interpreting those plans. Again, to highlight here at the bottom, I just wanted to point out that every large-scale wastewater project in South Dakota is utilizing a consultant to assist with the construction administration, and professional supervision is required as part of the Rapid City WRF ARPA funding. I would like to highlight that we are using the city standard contract for professional services. This is a standard contract that has been developed by the city's attorney's office to protect the city's interests. The contract has been reviewed by the city's attorney's office. Again, this is a time and material not to exceed contract. What does that mean? That means that the consultant will get paid for the hours worked. We will be invoiced monthly. The invoices are reviewed by city project manager, myself, and invoices are also reviewed by Black Hills Council of Local Governments as part of the reimbursement process. So this is, again, a time and materials contract, and the contract scope of work is structured into two main categories. We have what we're saying, the shop drawing review part and the field and on-site services. We will be going into further detail later in the presentation, but in essence, the shop drawing reviews consist of construction management and technical services. The field and on-site services includes change management, payment administration, schedule management, field and inspection services. I'd just like to point out that construction administration, it is more than watching concrete being placed. It is administration of the actual construction contract. Again, this slide was previously presented. However, what I would like to highlight is that we have city staff dedicated to supporting our annual CIP infrastructure projects. However, they are fully allocated. Our construction group does an excellent job in managing our bread and butter projects for the city. However, for this facility type project, it is best served in relying on the expertise of our consultants, which build these type of facilities on a regular basis.
So I'll jump in now and talk about the development of the level of effort for your project from the engineering side of it. And one of the first things that dictates what that level of effort looks like is the duration of that construction contract. So your construction contract is 4.25 years, which is 51 months, 222 weeks. And there are items that we determine the level of effort based upon, for instance, number of weeks. We have a progress meeting every other week, so we know we have 111 progress meetings, and then we estimate who will be at the meetings and the amount of time associated with that. Each month, the contractor will submit a pay application, so we've got to review 51 of those. Once a month we're doing that. The inspection services are going to last for that entire 4.25 years of the project. And so in the last meeting, I talked quite a bit about kind of an example project. Now we're honing in on this is your project and the equivalent work for your individual project. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time and talk about some of the different items and kind of how we determine that level of effort that we have within there. So I'll start with that lighter blue, second one down, that project administration and controls. And you can see that it starts off a little heavier. It's near the bottom of the chart. And then it's pretty consistent throughout. And that's what we see. We see extra reviews of the schedules up front and the schedule of values up front, their duration, their progress schedule up front that requires a little more time. And then it's basically a time-based cost within there. I'm going to skip resident engineering and come back to that last. The shop drawing review, the orange color, you can see is very much happening through the first half of the project. And the way that we come up with that level of effort is we actually look, last time we brought in the cart that had all the plans and specifications for the project, the contractors provide shop drawings back to us to show, demonstrate how they're building in accordance with that. We actually look at the number of specifications, and then we know it takes so many hours to review for each one of their specifications. So that's not a time-based. That's one that's actually based upon what's in the documents and what we have to review that comes back from the contractor. That's also the area where we see multidiscipline reviews, specialty reviews, structural engineers, electrical engineers, INC engineers that have to review those individual shop drawings within there. But it's a pretty major component, so I wanted to walk through that. We have that general construction phase services in that purple color. Again, it's a smaller one. It's more along the time. It's a lot of correspondence back and forth with the contractor. It is looking at when they invariably they have questions, right? Sometimes they just can't find where to find this within a document, and they'll ask a question, and we point them to the right directions. Sometimes they'll ask a question that we have to provide a little more clarification on, but that's that time throughout there, which is more time-based. You see the next blue, which is engineering field support. So it starts fairly low as the contractor's moving into building and constructing more. It grows to more and more, and you see at the end of the project, it's very heavy. And what that is, it's all the assistance and support with the startup, it's the final checkouts, it's the engineers who designed the project out in the field taking a look at it, would be that engineering field support. And then at the very end of the project, that conform drawings, we develop that based upon the number of sheets. So each one of those sheets, we have to go back and notate any changes to it that were made by the contractor in construction and provide those back to you. So that's basically a sheet count. And then the resident services in green. And you can see it starts slower. That construction activity starts to ramp up. And then when the contractor is basically working on multiple facilities at the same time and may have different facilities in different stages of completion, you start to see that green bar have a much larger emphasis into it at all. So you can kind of see that level of effort varies from 4 to almost 10 people as a full-time equivalent. It's obviously not just the same 10 people working on it. I talked about shop drawings. You've got multiple disciplines, so it may be more people for less of their time, but you kind of see the full-time equivalent of that. And then one of the things that I wanted to point out when we basically determine this level of effort by looking at all these different items is when we roll that up, we've shown you these bars, which includes all of the on-site work in green. The way that this has been proposed, HDR is only providing a portion of that work, and I'll show you that breakout on the next. But if you look at our fee in accordance with these bars, about half of, or slightly under half of the effort or time in hours that are going to be spent on the project are in the green by us, and then the rest of those other functions, the request for interpretation, the checking, operation and maintenance manual, startup, things of that nature within there. Specific to that on-site inspection that I talked about, it is really a team effort here. You can see that within that breakout, those green bars, about 35% of that time is us. We peak up to about 2.5 people, 2 people as part of what we'll have on site. So we'll have the lead and another one that comes in. And then the city will peak up to about 2.5 full-time equivalents, or 46% of the total time spent in the field. And then there's a separate hired by the city electrical controls inspector that would be up to 1 full-time equivalent. So you can kind of see the numbers I've given you matches that most furious time, and then the rest of it will be less. And the thing to remember on this is our piece of what we've estimated that. It's a not to exceed, and the city will only be paying on the inspection for what hours are actually utilized.
Thank you. To summarize the project costs, we came up with the following pie chart. The pie chart on the left shows the local project costs, the total project cost of $203.2 million, which is inclusive of all the project costs, that is construction, design, inspection, and construction administration for all phases. The pie on the right-hand side is a blow-up of that brown slice on the left, and that shows the HDR Phase 2 CA contract, along with the electrical and controls inspection contract that's by Advanced Electric that is also being brought to council for approval as well. I would also like to note that the instrumentation and control contract with AE2S is also on the agenda, and it's also being shown as part of the overall project cost on the left-hand side. Again, the total project cost all in is $203.2 million. Now that we discussed the overall project costs and how the CA contract amount was determined, I would like to focus on how the project is funded. We have a $203.2 million project, and we have total fund allocated for $208.3 million. How is that broken down? So we have a little bit over a quarter of that funding allocated as grant funding, free money. $53.8 million has been provided by the state as ARPA funds. We do have SRF loan funding for $136.5 million that has been approved by council. And we have an additional enterprise fund that has been reserved for $18 million. Again, total funding we have is $208.3 million, and the total project cost to date is $203.2 million. In conclusion, I would just like to reiterate the importance of ensuring a successful project for the city. By recommending the contract for approval to council, you can ensure that we will be able to maintain continuity of service, allowing operations to do their jobs, maintain regulatory compliance, and continue to provide excellent customer service. Construction administration is vital to the project, and it will allow us to stay on track, meet budget, and ensure a good return on investment by providing a quality product. That being said, I'll be open for questions. Thank you.
Questions? Anyone? If not, I'll look for a motion to, I don't know, can't think of, acknowledge? Okay. Have a motion by Councilman Ham, a second by, by Councilman Roseland. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to item 11, PW 062524-09. Authorize mayor and finance director to sign professional service agreement between the city of Rapid City and HDR Engineering Incorporated for professional construction administration services for the water reclamation facility South Plant improvements, Phase 2, project number 20-2629.2/CIP, number 51129.2, in the amount not to exceed $10,719,171.
Make a recommendation to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Pettigrew, a second by Ham. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. PW 062524-10, authorize mayor and finance officer to sign professional services agreement between the city of Rapid City and Advanced Electric Incorporated construction observation/inspection services for water reclamation facility South Plant improvements, Phase 2, project number 20-2629.2, CIP number 51129.2 for an amount not to exceed $895,000. Have a motion to approve by Ham, a second by Roseland. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. PW 062524-11, authorize mayor and finance director to sign professional services agreement between the City of Rapid City and Advanced Engineering and Environmental Services LLC for professional services related to the implementation of software systems, integration, SSI services for the Water Reclamation Facility South Plant Improvements Phase 2, project number 20-2629.2, CIP number 51129.2, in the amount not to exceed $1,999,829.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Pettigrew, a second by Ham. All in favor? All opposed, motion passes. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn. And I will never forget that number. So, we are adjourned. Thank you. So what do you want me to read?